I am ready to share a little bit more today about my money story. And today is Monday, so I've been sort of coming off the weekend and coming off of Mother's Day, just full of gratitude and thankfulness for my mom and for my grandma, for the moms out there that I know, and for my kids and my husband. I'm just so grateful and grateful that I get to tell a new part of my story as a mom and teach my kids and make a difference, right? And so today we're going to talk a little bit about on page 48 and 49, a little bit about, this is the heading title, Humans Are Not Just Smart Animals. And I know there's definitely something in our culture about just living by nature, about, that we are just elevated animals. And certainly this Jewish rabbi believes that we are touched by God. We are created uniquely by God. Separate from the animals, and in the creation story, we get a clear picture of how God breathed life into men, and from that man took a rib and made a woman. And I definitely believe that. I believe we are created uniquely, and in the creation story, man is made to care for the animals and things like that. So we are not an animal. I don't believe in evolution. I think birds can change within their species, but I do believe God created us unique in his image, and it's such a beautiful thing that we as humans have differences. And I love the story, and one of the particulars he gives in here, that and some pictures that he uses to create that and to help us understand. So here's one of the things he starts off saying is that, on some subconscious level, humans find it convenient to view themselves as not very special beings touched by the finger of God, but rather as a bunch of very smart animals. The smart animal view of humanity is convenient because it liberates people from the complex moral analysis of our lives. And I think that's true. If I'm just a human and I just have to give, I'm just natural and I can't overcome any of my urges, then, I don't have to wrestle with moral complexities of my humanity. And that's part of what money is, right? It's just this, it's something that we have to wrestle with and come to terms with. And for me, it's a bit of a wrestling, right? Like, it's not every day, but it certainly is something that I have to come to terms with and will continue to look at in different ways throughout my life. He goes on to say, overcoming nature is an essential element of Jewish faith. It is natural, has never been an adequate defense for immoral behavior in the Jewish legal system. Much of the sense of etiquette is derived from Jewish ritual protocol and is based on distinguishing animals from humans. So, for example, right, why do we teach our children don't pass gas in public, right? Don't itch your underarms, right? Why are you acting? So his mom would say to him, don't act like a baboon, right? And he would say to his mom, well, why not? God made baboons too, right? But there's something that says, you know what? There's a reason we don't sort of defecate in public, right? It's actually against the law. There's a moral law that says you don't do that. It's indecent. We actually have the capacity to hold it. We are aware that what we do impacts other people, and so we might go to a bathroom, right, in private. Animals don't do that. Animals aren't shamed, right? They don't sort of think about, like, if I do this, they're not even thinking about it. My dog right now, my dog has to mark everything when we go for a walk. Are you kidding me? Like, I have the capacity to hold it till I get home, right? I can overcome the nature. And God has designed us as humans to be able to do that. I love this picture. He made humans different and unique. And this is fundamental, not just to Jewish faith, but also to the structure of Jewish society, trust, business, and wealth creation. So I love this example. Why do people raise their food to their mouths instead of lowering their mouths to the plate? So I want to say this again. Why do people raise their food to their mouth rather than lowering our mouth to the plate? Judaism views the dining table as a contemporary replacement for the long destroyed altar, whose purpose was to raise the material to the level of the spiritual. So we know what an altar is, right? We read about that they would make sacrifices on an altar, but that wasn't on the ground. It was an altar that was elevated, right? It was elevated. When you think of C.S. Lewis and Aslan getting killed, it was on an altar. It wasn't on the ground. There was purpose in the raising of that material item. The head represents a person's spiritually lofty component, while food is a material commodity. Seated at a dining table, either the material can be lifted to the spiritual, or the spiritual can be lowered to the material. As unique and special beings, people prefer doing the former rather than representing animals doing the latter. My dog's dishes are on the ground. My dog doesn't sit at the table and eat with us, right? That's just weird. But I sit at a table. I've elevated myself and saying I will elevate the material and feed myself. I don't lick it out of the bowl, right? This is why I tell my kids, don't lick your bowl. Like, that's just weird and gross, and you're not going to impress any girl's son by doing that, by belching in public, by doing the things, right? There's this sort of etiquette that we have that separates us from being an animal, right? Wealth creation is partially how people express their spirituality. It is an unnatural act. No animals in nature ever do it, but overcoming nature, all nature, especially human nature, is what Judaism seeks people as obligated to do. If people are nothing more than rational animals, then business may as well be exploitative. We do exploit other people if all we are is animals. It is unnatural because no other creature on earth engages in behavior even remotely similar to business. To the Jews, most of life's little rituals are designed to help them overcome nature, not relieving themselves wherever and whenever the urge overtakes them, as animals do as part of the ritual. Humans overcome nature, as it were, by restraining themselves until they can go to the bathroom. But popular culture prefers to view humans as nothing more than sophisticated animals. And like all other animals, following their nature, therefore, is, well, natural. Animals merely seek their sustenance, while humans actively create it. Right? Animals, it is amazing. They can go out and find things, right? Turkey vultures are the garbage cleaner-uppers of nature, right? It's remarkable how nature does find a way. But we are human, and we are different than an animal. We actively create our sustenance. I make dinner every day. Now, my sister raises chickens and raises goats, but she's still actively pursuing. She's feeding them. She's making sure they have the nutrients that they need, right? They're free range, but she's still guiding, protecting, and caring for them, right? She loves her goats. She loves her animals. She's like the best farmer, right? They also raise bees, right? And it's all nature. It's all working together, but they also are actively a participant in what's going on. And it's a beautiful dance of how God created us to work with the animals, right? To protect them, to provide for them, to give them a fence, to help them grow. It's part of how he also created us, that we can actively participate in it. Popular culture reserves the height of its criticism for those who make their livings in the most abstract monetary manner. So even you think of like cryptocurrency, right? Like people can be culture can be very critical because you've created something, but God created something out of nothing. And again, cryptocurrency, I'm not going to pretend I know a whole lot about it, but I think it's fascinating, and I am learning, and I am reading, and I am studying, and I've heard some people talk about it, and I think it's an important thing to pay attention to. I think it is fascinating how somebody created something out of nothing. I think this is how somehow economy works. This is the mystery of money and faith together. Like, it is it's so intriguing to me. All right, people tend to be more tolerant of activities that fit a materialistic and animalistic worldview, and less tolerant of activities that are uniquely human and spiritual. So, for example, people don't seem to be as critical, he would argue in here, as people who play professional athletes. They don't seem as critical to them that they're making millions and millions of dollars. But they can be critical of somebody like Bill Gates, who has so much money, Jeff Bezos, who has so much money, like we can't even hardly count it, right? But what they have given to us, right? So they give me the service that I want, so people are paying for it, right? I love it that Bill Gates created something that I can communicate with anybody all over the world. I can work easier. I can communicate with people that I love. I can find information. Both of these people, their companies have given us things that we want, that make our lives easier. Why should we be mad at them for creating that kind of wealth for me? Because basically, if I don't want them to create it, then you shouldn't be using it, right? I shouldn't be using it. All right, I'm at my 10 minutes. But I hope this helps us sort of think differently about, God created us unique. I am not just an animal. I think animals are fantastic. We need them by all means. But God created us with a unique ability to create business. And that's a good thing of how we can contribute and how we can serve others. Again, wealth isn't the ultimate goal. It is part of living and how we can create and be generous and give and be grateful in this country and in this state that we live. And to me, that is so exciting about how we can give more to others who need it. And I'm grateful that people have that goal because it benefits my life and my life benefits yours, right? It goes full circle. And I think that's awesome and exciting. So Jesus, thank you for creating us as humans, that we are different from animals, and that you help us actively participate in our redemption, like I talked about before. We actively participate in this life that you've given to us. We make our food. We can work and create business and have a life with others that's so rich and abundant through these relationships and through giving and serving others. That is so exciting. And so help us do that today, Jesus, in your name. Amen. Amen. And so be it.